Hello, this is the next part of OCR People, and I'm going to talk about methods of selecting candidates. So you've advertised the job, you've got to ask the candidates to apply for it. How are you going to ask them to apply? Do you want a letter of application? This will show you as a business what the candidate's handwriting is like, or their typing skills are like, and how good they are at writing English, because that's obviously very important if you want them to be able to communicate well. An application form is something else you might request, which is a document that gathers personal information about the applicants. It'll have their name and address, obviously, but then it'll have their qualifications, where they went to school, experience, and what skills they've got. An application form's a good idea if you need to get standard information about everybody. So teachers always have an application form to fill in because they need to know that we've got the right qualifications and the right experience, and they can compare us quite easily. A CV, curriculum vitae, is a document where you draw it yourself, and it's got your name and where you've studied. It's very similar to an application form, except you're able to you're able to plan what goes on there, and you draw up the format. Whereas with an application form, it's obviously standardised, and you have to actually fill that in. Very important to get things like CVs and letters of application very accurate, because you can just get rejected straight away if there are mistakes on them. Interviews are where the business has then looked at all those pieces of information and said, right, that person looks interesting, let's ask them to come and meet us. So they call the people in for an interview, and they'll ask them certain questions and see if they'll fit in with the rest of the team and with the organisation. They might also say an interview's not enough. We want them to do some psychometric tests. I mentioned those before, where you're assessing their maths ability, their English ability, or you might say we want them to do a typing test to see if they can type fast enough. Or very common, especially in bigger businesses, is to say, come in and do a presentation to us about what you're going to do in the job, what you see as the future for this role in the organisation. And that for the business is very good, because it shows whether the candidate's got an understanding of the job and assesses how suitable they are for the job. Now, group activities are where you call the candidates in and they have to do a group task. And it shows the employer how well you work as a team. And always remember, if you're going for an interview or a group activity or anything like that, any kind of job assessment, from the moment you step out of your car, arrive on the premises, you're being judged. So don't be rude to the receptionist, and be pleasant and polite to people. Because if word gets back that you weren't very nice, then you're not likely to get that job, are you? And then references, very important. Employers will want to know from previous employers what you've been like. And they will ask them, they could ring them up and say, I need a reference for so-and-so, or they could write to them and say and request a reference, and your previous employer will say what you were like, if you were on time, if you were honest, what you achieved, to make sure that the new business isn't recruiting somebody who's going to cause absolute chaos and mayhem. And that's the end of methods of selection. Bye till the next time.